next article from the New York Post. White House press secretary locked out of Twitter for sharing post about the Hunter Biden story. White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany. Hold on. How do you say this name? McEnany? Kayla McEnany, on Wednesday was locked out of her personal Twitter account for sharing the post. It's the New York Post, not the Post. Bombshell cover on Hunter Biden's alleged hard drive. And if you didn't know, the New York Post is actually America's oldest newspaper. And who created it? Alexander Hamilton? I want to say was the person who created it. I'm not 100% sure about that. If I'm wrong, please comment down below. But, that's pretty respectable. I've been criticizing the New York Post a lot for some fake news. And I think that they've gotten better over the summer. Like at the beginning, they were siding with the black looter mob. And it does seem like their narratives changed. Whenever the more information came out about George Floyd's fentanyl overdose, I think they kind of changed their story. Initially, they were just sold on the white cop killed unarmed black guy narrative, and it has their stuff hasn't been so bad. They have a good NewsGuard certification. Let's see, there's a bombshell story on Hunter Biden's alleged hard drive and email linking Joe Biden to his son at the Ukrainian energy company. Quote, your account has been locked. And quote, the message from the social media network informed McEnany, whose account has more than 1 million followers. Quote, we've determined that this account violated the Twitter rules, end quote, the network said, highlighting her prior tweet with a link to the Post articles. Without proving any evidence, Twitter said McEnany, who shared a screenshot with the Post, violated our rules against distributed hacked materials. This is just so silly. They weren't hacked materials at all. Somebody left a laptop at a computer repair shop, 3 of them, and never paid the repair bill. And then they kept the laptop, and they went through the files, and they found it was Hunter Biden's laptop. They don't know who dropped off the laptop, last I heard. And there are some questions as to whether or not the evidence was planted by foreign agents in a disinformation campaign. So, but there's certain things that have been corroborated, but that's how disinformation works, is you try to mix in some stuff that you can corroborate with some stuff that you can't, you have to trust. Couldn't tell you. I personally, my worldview, I think that it's true, but I know that I'm biased there. So, quote, this story reported by the New York Post and Fox News with Biden campaign, noticeably not disrupting the authenticity of the, oh wait, hold on. I was starting to describe that. The repair guy that owned the laptop, they actually owned the computer. Once they left it there, it's like a repair lien. Like they owned it because they didn't pick it up. So technically it was not hacked. Let's see. McEnany said, I will not comply with censoring reporting that may not fit the ideology of Silicon Valley. This is abominable and not the American way, end quote. And I don't think it's actually illegal. From there's this guy, Viva Frei, Vivafrei, and he has a vlog, a vlog about law. So VLAWG, vlog. He did an excellent video, which definitely you should check out. Just on YouTube, look up Viva Frei, VIVA space FREI space Hunter Biden. It'll pop up. He's an attorney, and what they brought up was that there was some business that was trying to look at Section 230 protections. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. And somebody posted something. Some people were trying to take it down under Section 230. And the owner told the court that they try to moderate the content because it's a family-friendly website. Because they were moderating some of the content, it made it so they were a publisher. So I don't think that they've ever actually had Section 230 protections to suppress anyone's free speech. I think that it has to be stuff that would be illegal for minors to see. For example, pornography. I think animal abuse is in there. So those things can't be in public sight. And I 100% agree with that. Sounds like a great rule to me. But Silicon Valley is a leftist echo chamber. They are pretty extreme in Silicon Valley. They live in a different world where the rent is extremely expensive and they get fancy jobs through their inside connections. And they don't have to live in our reality, but they know how much the rent costs. So they, for a lot of people that they know, the rent is too much. And so they sympathize with these people. And so they're trying to be on their side because they're the cool ones. And so in Silicon Valley, there's like about a third of people are Asians. There was like a lot of Chinese slaves that helped build the Transcontinental Railroad. And they are higher up in the Silicon Valley social hierarchy. They own a lot of businesses there. Their children get very good grades. They're like very high paid. And these people are very anti-racist. They work in ivory towers where they're not, I mean, they're good people, one-on-one, really good people. But the way that they are able to control the ivory tower is by firing people and not hiring people. And one of the metrics that you have to put up with is that you can't be racist, which of course, yeah, that's a great thing. But they take it to a different degree. They push what is called doctrine of diversity, where they say all white teams are inferior. So, and that the critical race theory, where the white man is bad, they oppress the minorities, they own slaves, they took the land from the American Indians, and so they have white privilege that they have to check. And in their ivory towers, they do these critical race trainings where they train people to take away their white privilege, to like what do they call it? Racial sensitivity training, where they basically they use it as a method for their group of people to remain in control. And it's because the customers, the people that they're trying to sell to, a lot of them are in big cities. The minorities are a big voting bloc. So they have to create, a customer base. So they have to promote these policies in order to make sure that people will buy their products. And because it's just right to not be a bigot. But they take this to another level. They're like nanny state. They live these perfect lives up in the ivory tower, which probably aren't very perfect. But they got the fancy house in San Francisco. They drive the Tesla. They have exposable, dispendable, funny money. And so they are perfectly fine with other people controlling their speech. Because when other people do that, they're able to fit within this power structure. And then it allows them to come up. And so they're part of the 48 laws of power, is being able to blend into the group and then be a puppet master. They're very powerful people who exert these power principles that power players use, often without even knowing them. And this is why they're able to rise up to the top of the tower, is because they are able to fit within the power structure, and they just naturally develop these authoritarian, very strict patterns from seeing people get fired at work and being promoted. You learn this is the way that you get promoted at work. And so these are the people that are in control of Twitter. I'm a programmer and a computer engineer. So that's how I know the psychological behavior of these people, because I am one of them. I don't like that. I do understand there's lots of wisdom to it. Their children are very well behaved. They have a lot more girlfriends than I do. I am at the bottom of the social hierarchy. They obviously are able to rise up to the top of the social hierarchy through exploiting these power principles. But it also makes them very dangerous. They do not share our values. They are in Silicon Valley. And the people that they're moderating are a lot more conservative than they are. Oops. We see where I looked at this once tonight. Look at it again. This is the height map of the 2016 presidential election, where the Democrats lived and the Republicans. You'll see these blue bars are where the Democrats were. So you see most of the Democrat voters were in Southern California. And in Chicago, I don't know enough about Florida. Is that like Miami and Orlando? Then it's not Jacksonville. New York. So you can see where the Democrats are at. And then when you look at this, then it gives you a clue into where's Silicon Valley at. So Silicon Valley's right around here in the map. And so these are the people, they're right around here, that are making the rules for everyone in the entire country. Twitter is in Silicon Valley. Facebook is in Silicon Valley. Quora is in Silicon Valley. What else? YouTube's in Silicon Valley. There was another one. I can't remember the other one. But this is the problem with having these big tech companies controlling, moderating it, social media is they will inherently push their political agenda. And if they don't like your politicians, they'll bury them. They'll mark them as disinformation. They'll bury their posts, restrict their circulation. This is fundamentally dangerous because it gives them control over the political process, especially if they get their way where we do national public vote instead of popular vote instead of the electoral college. Then these big blue cities would control the White House. Sorry, big blue city. These big blue bars, the ivory towers, they would control the White House. You know, the ivory towers do control the White House currently, but it would just be these big bars. They would just be in control of the White House every single time. What are we talking about? Let's see. And then here in this next article from the New York Post, Biden campaign calls on Facebook to police posts from President Trump. Biden's campaign sent a letter to Facebook pressing the company to remove posts from President Trump and accused the social media platform of spreading disinformation, according to the report Tuesday. So what Biden is doing with his campaign strategy, the words that they focus group tested, because they use these focus groups where they get a bunch of swing voters and they put them in a room and they test different arguments out on them. They talk about what these people want, what would help them, and they use the lines that they've tested work the best. So the lines that they've tested that work the best are the racism line and the white patriarchal males oppressing the women, and so they are using honesty. That's the other one that they focus group tested, is that there's a lot of fake news, because there has been a lot of fake news. And so there's been a lot of people complaining about fake news, but everybody wants to say their side's perfect and it's just the other side, and that their side isn't the side that's fake news. So that's what they're doing here with this disinformation. When they say they're spreading disinformation, what they're saying is their side has been spewing out fake news about the riots, but people don't know which side actually did it. So they're saying it's the Republicans that are putting out the disinformation, and that they're the honest one, that they're the one that's telling the truth. They're very, very, very keen on this stumping point. If once you know that that's what they're doing, you'll see it. Now that I've told you what they're doing, they're very careful. They'll if you ask them questions, they'll like stop. They won't even answer your questions sometimes. They'll just say, no, we're the honest ones. We're the ones that you know. This is the other line that they say. They say, no, we're the candidates that help you out. We're the ones that know you. We're the ones that you can trust because we know you. And I remember, because I've heard Biden and Kamala Harris say this in the past day. And once you see that it's just a ploy that they focus group test, it's kind of low. It's kind of disgusting. It's not something that if people knew about it, that you would use that tactic, because you would be a snake at that point in time. And they are snakes. They're definitely snakes. And Wolf's closing. What else about this? I need to go quicker. Facebook to police posts from President Trump. And what happened after that? Here in the next article. Oops. Here in this next article from New York Post, Twitter locks Trump campaign's account over video related to the post-Hunter Biden bombshell. We just went over, they had suspended, what is it, Carly McCanny? Is that her name? Carly McCanny? Yeah. And then so they also suspended Team Trump over the same thing. And then Team Trump has 2.2 million followers. And where was I trying to find? Sorry. There was another one. I think Facebook suspended Trump. I'm sorry, I had that there, or I had an article, and then it doesn't seem to be here. All right, well, I guess I just got to move on here. In this next article from Slate, Clarence Thomas is begging for someone to sue over conservatives' most hated internet law. Even the most serious students of law sometimes get the law wrong. That's why I'm willing to cut some slack for Justice Clarence Thomas, who took the occasion this week to propose that some plaintiffs somewhere should bring the right kind of Section 230 case to the Supreme Court. Thomas politically issued an engraved invitation for parties to bring a case that would enable the court to narrow the law that Professor Jeff Kosef has rightly classified as containing the 26 words that created the internet. Okay, so this is Section 230. I'm just going to paraphrase this because I don't like this person's journalist. I don't like his style. I don't think he tried to speak this when he wrote it. Clarence Thomas so there is this section in 230 that gives them protection. It says anybody who's a platform is not going to be treated like the creator of a content when they post it. For example, you send something copyrighted through your email, and the email company is not responsible for the illegal material that went through its server, as long as it makes an attempt to take it down whenever an issue has been given to, or a notice has been given to them. So this has been abused by the tech giants in Silicon Valley. They were using it as a shield to censor people's speech, and the reason why they're doing it is because of European anti-hate speech laws and Australian anti-hate speech laws. They want to sell the product, dominate the international market for social media, not just control America's speech, but control the world's speech. And this this thing from Clarence Thomas just opens the door. It's okay, maybe I don't know enough about it to paraphrase it. Here, I'm just going to go back into the article, even though it's poorly written. The language, a single sentence from Section 230. The Communications Decency Act establishes a baseline of protection for internet platforms from being held liable for things published by the user. That's why Section 230 is widely regarded as the law that permitted the internet as we know it today, from Facebook to Twitter to Wikipedia and Reddit. It's got too much fluff in there. That's what he said. He begins embracing the particular idiosyncratic version of the platform publisher distinction. Says traditionally laws governing illegal content distinguish between publishers or speakers, like newspapers, and distributors, like newsstands and libraries. Publishers or speakers were subjected to a higher standard because they exercised editorial control. They would be strictly liable for transmitting illegal content, but distributors were different. They acted as mere conduit without expressing editorial control. They often transmitted far more content than could be expected to review. Distributors were thus liable only when they knew or constructively knew the content was illegal. First, Section 230C1 indicates that an internet provider does not become the publisher of a piece of third-party content, thus subjected to strict liability simply by hosting or distributing that content. Second, Section 230C2A provides an additional degree of immunity when companies take down or restrict access to objectionable content so long as the company acts in good faith. Where's the next quote? By dispensing with any requirement of knowledge of the content of the book on the part of the seller, the ordinance tends to impose severe limitations on the public access to constitutionally protected matter. For if the bookseller is criminally liable without knowledge of the contents, and the ordinance fulfills its purpose, he will tend to restrict the books he sells to those he has inspected, and thus the state will have imposed a restriction upon the distribution of constitutionally protected as well as obscene literature. Okay, so hold on. I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. So what they're saying is, because if we didn't give them protections, then they would have to restrict the books down to only the ones that they could monitor. And because they sell a lot of these books, then they couldn't possibly monitor them, and so we'd have to restrict a lot of the material that we would, had we not given them the protections. And he goes on to say here, an imagined future without Section 230, where websites and internet platforms again face enormous potential liability for hosting content created by others, there would again be powerful incentive to limit that exposure. Online platforms could accomplish this in one of two ways. They could strictly limit user-generated content or even eliminate it altogether, or they could adopt the anything goes model that was a way to escape liability before Section 230 existed. We would be very much worse off were this to happen. Without Section 230's clear limitations on liability, it was difficult to imagine most of the online services we know, which we rely every day, would exist in anything like their current form. So I think this goes back into the example I brought up earlier. Might not have been in this video segment. Maybe the previous video segment. There was a case where a video company or a website was somebody had posted some content that somebody objected to. I can't remember if it was like copyright content. And so they issued a takedown notice on a website. The people wrote back, and then they responded. They said, we moderate. They're trying to claim Section 230 immunity for the tort damages. And they said that the court said because the person's edited some of the content because they're a family-friendly website, it does not give them Section 230 immunities because they're a publisher at that point in time. So I guess what Section 230 is supposed to say, and what Clarence Thomas is saying, is that you have to regulate none of it, or you have to regulate all of it. There's no in between here with the Section 230. What else we got? Yeah, that was the last quote. I do believe that's pretty close to accurate to what Clarence Thomas said. I'm paraphrasing some stuff from Viva Fry's video on Hunter Biden. Let's look that up real quick. Viva Frey, Hunter Biden. This guy is going to do way better job than me.
Content
in
video,
Hunter Biden censorship and Clarence Thomas on 230 immunity dash Viva Fry vlog spelled VLAWG. I don't think I've actually watched this whole video. That's probably why I did such a poor job explaining it. I think I explained everything. If you have any questions, please comment down below, and like to get this straightened out. This is complicated. But I think the bookstore analogy is enough to tell you the point. So if you in your bookstore, you are only allowing some books because you verify that those books fit your political agenda and your morals and your business model, then you can't claim Section 230 immunity for that. In order to do that, you have to carry any of the books. I'm not sure exactly. Okay, so if you have a bookstore, you're not like Amazon. It's not like people like list books in your store. You pick a book because people are going to sell the book. So this makes you a publisher without Section 230 platform protections. But say if you're Amazon, then if you don't restrict anybody's book, you sell any of their book, then you have Section 230 platform protections. But if you are censoring some of the books, then you're not supposed to have the Section 230 platform protections. I think that's how that works. If I'm wrong, please comment down below. I'm not an attorney. I've just been through the court system enough to know the basics of constitutional law and procedure.